So how do you reconcile that?
I don't know. I come from like in the city I come from. People come from everywhere.
Yeah.
And some people think it's their land, and the people that came from abroad should go away.
Yeah.
But where? Like they were born here as well. Like where is away? I'm my nationality, but I've got people, like my ancestors come from elsewhere.
Yeah. So where you from? If you don't mind
I'm
asking.
from France.
From France.
But I've got like Vietnamese background. Where I should go back from according to certain people.
Yeah.
Some people might think I'm French.
Right.
Some people think I'm not. I don't really care. They can't.
Yeah.
Apart if they try to murder me, they can't really do anything.
No, that's fine.
So
I mean, that's exactly what I'm saying. There
disagree
are things which have conflicts in this world that we live in, and you see everything that we. I'll give you another example. Okay, maybe land might be a bit controversial. I'll give you another example. The example of alcohol. Yes, there are many people who think it's okay to drink. Yes, but then the harm can be much greater because you might think it's good for you. It might be bad for maybe somebody you hurt from that, the consequence of that drinking. I'm not saying you personally, by the way. I'm saying the individual who thinks it's good to drink. They might, every alcoholic out there, at one point they thought they're going to be responsible drinkers, but they ended up being basically alcoholics.
Yeah, it's a bad choice they made at a bad time.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So things like this, I mean, who decides? Like, for example, I'm a Muslim, and in Islam, we are forbidden from drinking. It's prohibited to drink alcohol. You see, that is good for everyone. It's good for me as an individual. It's good for my family, for my community, and everyone. Because that, whatever problem or issues related with consuming alcohol, yes, Islam has just nipped it in the bud.
But it's good if you choose to, if it's something you choose to do, and I think it's good. It's something you've accepted, but you cannot expect everyone to do so. I know someone who's Muslim and who drinks at night because he believes that in the night God doesn't see him drinking.
Well, that's his ignorance anyway.
And I think this is hilarious.
We know that is his ignorance. Even you as a person who doesn't believe in God would think that is kind of stupid.
Is, like, he's trying to comply with this and finds an excuse not to comply when it suits him.
No, but we are talking about, look, we are talking about mainstream, no, we are talking about a mainstream Islam and Muslims who adhere to the teachings of the Quran. We are not talking about those exceptions. And by the way, I'm not denying there are no Muslims out there who don't drink. Of course there are. There are Muslims who do sin. But the important thing is this. Alcohol is something that is well known to be an issue in every community in the world. It's not like
when you're not being sensible with it.
Yeah, but
so if you're being a grown-up adult, and you make your own decisions to be sensible, and you constantly ask yourself if what you're doing is right for yourself and the people around you, you might make mistakes. But if you're not too stupid, you learn from them and you don't do them again. Maybe people will forgive you, or maybe they won't.
Yep.
But
mistakes related to alcohol
mistakes in life in general.
But you see, that alcohol, like I told you, there are people who thought the same thing, that at one point they're going to be responsible citizens and individuals who are not going to drink more than they can handle. But then look what happened, because alcohol is such that it messes up with your mind, with your thinking, and then you end up drinking more than you plan to.
I find it a bit sad because in my mind the way you're saying this is, it was good, for example, that it says in a religion not to drink too much.
Yeah.
So
not to drink at all, not too much.
Not to drink at all.
Yeah.
But so you're telling me that.
No, this is just one example to show you.
What I found sad is basically, instead of making, like, you can decide for yourself without believing in anything that drinking is not good and therefore you shouldn't. Or do you need someone to tell you to behave? Like a dad telling you all your life.
It's not about behaving, it's about guidance. There's a big difference here. I'll tell you what.
You can make your own choices.
Okay, do you think alcohol is good or bad for you?
I don't think it's a good thing to abuse it.
Okay, do you drink?
Very occasionally.
But you do drink. Knowing the fact that you as a grown-up have ability to understand whether it's good or bad for you, for your body, but yet you are drinking it.
I know my limits.
No, but that's
I
what I'm
never
telling you.
go over my limits.
Because you see, you don't realize what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm saying is that you, knowing the fact it's bad and harmful for your body, yet you decide to drink.
No, it
The reason is because you don't know.
About the dose.
Ah, really?
Definitely.
So if I give you a little poison, you'll drink it?
It's not a little poison. It depends which substance, each amount,
exactly.
each substance has its own.
But why would you consume poison out of interest? You know why?
I will not.
But the alcohol is poison. You just said it.
No, it depends how much you take.
No, but why? Even little. Why would you take poison if it's poison?
Some like, even that's also a fun
Actually, I'll
fact.
answer that one. Alcohol isn't poison because alcohol is used as a medicine. Like if you're in the war or anything, they pour alcohol on. Not
Yeah,
poison.
it can help.
Wait. You see,
It's all
where do they
about
pour it? On the skin, not in the mouth. There's a big difference.
maybe.
Alcohol can be very useful.
No, you're talking about
in your mouth, not in your mouth.
you're using that as an antiseptic. That's a big
What's
difference.
the argument about alcohol?
No, the argument it's about God. It's about believing in God or not.
Just discuss.
That was a discussion.
Oh, well, we drink wine, don't we, in the church?
Well, we are not Muslims. We don't drink wine
Oh,
either.
right, well,
Sorry, we are Muslims. We don't drink alcohol.
Actually, there was a time
Yes.
where water was not drinkable, and it was better to
I
drink
know
a
what to
small
do
amount of
anyway.
alcohol rather than, or like something fruit juice fermented with a bit of alcohol in it that would kill
You know,
germs.
the reason I brought up the alcohol discussion is for you to understand that if there is no consequence for you for whatever you're doing in this life, then nobody is going to be stopping you when you realize that there is no consequence for it. For example, when I say consequence, I mean there's no one for you to check. It's like that Muslim friend of yours who does something wrong at night, thinking that nobody will see him, nobody will notice him. When you take away the consequences, when you take away the responsibility, the accountability of what you're doing, then
Sorry?
Are you an atheist as well?
Yeah. But who's...
No, sorry, not to that.
No, I am. But, well, I do have a question for you. Did you want to finish it?
yeah, so what I was saying is that if you don't have accountability, responsibility, and consequences, then as human nature, I think there was a survey done earlier where they actually asked this question: if there's no accountability or any consequence, would you do something wrong, like, for example, murder or something, and get away with it? And for example, your enemy, if you had this option to kill your enemy, yes, knowing that there won't be any consequence, would you do it?
There would
And
be a
and most of them said yes,
Consequence.
because they know that you won't be held accountable for it and you'll get away with it.
consequences that you will have to live with this your whole life.
But if you don't
Would
mind,
you?
For them,
mind doing it.
for them that is not much, because
But plenty of people that don't care.
remember, it's the
I'm
enemy.
sure they don't care for real. Those people who do drink to forget, usually, don't they?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they don't forget, do they?
How long they gonna forget?
Yeah, exactly. Until it wears
The
out.
trouble never go away. That's only temporary.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
And you go back again to that,
yeah,
you
it
know.
doesn't, it
When
doesn't
you do
mean-
something bad, it sticks to you
Yeah.
your whole life.
And you know that.
Yeah.
And it will eventually,
You might get away with the one.
eventually
but
it
you
will
have to look at
affect
yourself if you want.
your body inside your organs, and everything's going to be damaged.
Okay,
So that's what,
let's.
you know,
Sorry,
take
you had a question you wanted to
Use
ask?
it.
Yeah, go on.
So, you guys can't drink,
Yes.
but how do you...
It's not we can't drink. We can drink, but we chose not to drink because
don't.
our religion
So-
doesn't permit us to drink.
So your religion says that you
Sinning.
can't,
Yeah.
It prohibits us. Yes.
but how do you feel about, like, not having the choice?
What do you mean? We do. No, we do have the choice, but because look,
Like, if you adhere to your religion, then you don't really have the choice.
no, the religion in the Quran, Allah says there might be some benefit, yes, in the alcohol, but the bad outweighs the good. So whatever benefit is there in alcohol, yes, whatever basically the bad impact of it is much the harm is much greater than the good. That you might feel good for a little while, yeah, you consume alcohol, you feel relaxed or whatever you feel, yes, that's temporary. But then there are many people, you know, when you look at them puking on the streets, and these are professors, these are intelligent people who have responsible jobs. Those people, when you see them outside reacting from alcohol and the way when you look at them, I mean, you think, how can someone intelligent, a person like that, consume alcohol and then behave like an animal? Because at that stage he doesn't even know what he's doing.
Not everyone
gets like that though.
Yeah, but
Like,
many
I
do.
never,
You
ever,
cannot deny that.
ever
Many
be
do.
hungover.
You
Some
will.
do, but
You
you
bet.
don't, you
Eventually.
cannot generalize.
Have you ever been Saturday night outside to Leicester Square or someplace like that? Look, every Saturday night you find the ambulances rushing to those places. Every Saturday night.
Lothian and Border Police.
Yes.
Chief Inspector.
Everywhere, not only
95%
stuff.
of his man hour is stuck weekends outside pubs. And pubs.
Yeah, and this is the revenue. This is the taxes. The people who are teetotalers who pay that goes into those treating those alcohol-related matters. And this is not only people getting drunk. This is those people getting drunk and getting violent towards their families, towards their spouses, towards their children.
What do you think it says? Like, why do people need to drink to do that then?
Say again?
What do you think it says? Like, if people need to
Yeah,
get
we're
this
just
in this state,
another 10 minutes. We will.
like, why would they do it? Is it recreational for them? Like, where do they gain?
You tell me. You are the one who drinks. I don't drink.
I don't drink that much.
No, you don't have to drink that much. In order for why do you drink? That's a question. Because earlier you did say that alcohol is kind of a poison. Now, how much you drink?
Depends
That
how
is
much you drink.
exactly. But
So if you have
but the thing is, even
the
if it's
one
poison,
pint every
If he was
other
a-
week with
Yeah.
a friend, that's not.
What
you-
about if you are in a
do
party and it's all drinks free?
But
And then
everyone,
they'll get everybody,
yeah, but it doesn't
drinking,
mean that
and
I have to
everybody,
drink it
after
if
that,
it's
then
free.
you, yes,
It means I can,
and
but
you
I don't
end up,
have to.
yes,
Let me put
That's
it
right.
to you this way: even if you only have one point every
Exact-
now and then,
yes.
you're still supporting an industry that ruins people's lives. So think about the wider ranging consequences. Maybe only a little bit of your money goes towards the support of that industry, but you still do support
You
that
keep it
industry
alive,
in
yeah.
some way, shape or form. So you let other people down also by supporting an evil industry.
Hold on, isn't it the same with Muslims when they do that? What's that smoking thing again? What's it called?
shisha.
Yeah.
It's not allowed. You know that. It's not allowed.
No,
Yeah, but a
every
lot of
Muslim-
Smoking. Look, again, it's the same thing. Just because Muslims do it doesn't make it. It's
That's
what
a Muslim, but
Islam
that's not
teaches
Islam.
that.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, the basic teaching of Islam is anything that harms your body. Yes, anything that harms your body,
But Islam
you should
doesn't
not.
say that to
You
do
should
that.
not consume
It
that.
doesn't say that.
Exactly.
And that includes fatty food. That includes consuming things which are harmful for your body. All of it, not just alcohol and basically smoking and stuff like that. Anything that harms your
can
body,
relate.
So you
you should avoid it. But there are certain things like alcohol which is specifically mentioned because this is something you find throughout the world. Yes, that it's prohibited completely. And then same goes with gambling. The same goes with adultery, fornication, and so on. So all these things which harm you, your community, your family, is something that is for the greater good. Basically, it's not because Allah doesn't want you to have fun in your life. Yes, have fun, but in a halal way, in a more way which is wholesome. You know, for
All
you.
the rules like made for religion was to kind of have people agree on a good conduct that would make the society
Yes.
better.
The morals, yeah, good morals.
Morals,
Yeah.
but
But you can still have a good time.
you can still have a good time, but there is also, because the rules are written, some people can.
He's a Christian.
I'm a Christian, so I'm
Kind of
kind of on
Christian,
his
yeah.
side a little
Let
bit.
me tell me,
A little bit.
Don't drink
how
alcohol.
come?
Yeah. I don't drink it. I used to.
Why we go to
Every now
school
and then
then?
I take it.
Yeah.
Because we don't
But
understand
I had,
everything.
like, for example, I had
So
like
if it is, we
about
don't have
6
a
small
more
glasses
on
of wine.
the code of
apart
to
from that-
learn and understand.
Yeah, but
How can you gonna teach yourself? You
You're
cannot
allergic to
never
alcohol.
I
be.
think so.
Yeah.
And I've heard of like.
Is it 'cause it makes you
it
feel bad
happening to
afterwards?
people. No, it's because like
That's just your
literally,
moral.
as soon as I start drinking, I get like headaches.
Really?
you see, there you go.
When you
Right.
No, like everything. So
So it's bad for your health. And you shouldn't drink
yeah.
it. You see, that's the reason doctors advise
you
those.
really
but
busy and
then
everything.
work gives me headaches as well. So
Sorry?
work gives me headaches too.
Oh yeah.
It's bad for your body. And
Yeah, you should quit and get
Maybe
a job
you should marry someone rich. You don't have to work either. So yeah, going back to what we're talking about. See, morality is good. There's something which you don't need to be religious to have.
you don't need
To have well, most of the morals out there. Yes, like for example, we all know killing is bad, raping is bad, stealing is bad. Yes,
Yeah,
telling
anything-
lies is bad.
Anything that's not respecting human life is bad.
So what do you think of abortion?
Abortion,
That's a
What about
that's a hard one.
Exactly. You see, this is what I mean. But
What
going
is
back to
hard is the life of the
Fornication.
mother, the life of the baby. What do you
Hold
think?
on, one second.
So-
why can't you say
What
both?
about the life of the father? That's the question.
Actually, life of all three are important: the father, mother, and the baby.
And I think,
Okay?
and I honestly think
But you see, in most countries today, abortion is legal.
Yeah.
And
the
I don't know. Have you ever
mother-
seen how abortion is conducted? I don't mean like physically seeing, either on TV or YouTube or somewhere. Maybe you should go and see one of those videos. It is like a horror movie, and it's worse than that. Trust me, because this is a life which cannot protect itself. The baby, the child cannot protect itself. And those doctors, those surgeons, whoever, they rip them limb by limb. Sorry to say this, but this is something, yes, they do. This is shocking to many people. They're up to the age of 28 weeks. Yes? I think that is a legal limit up to when you can abort. After that, you can't. It's illegal to abort. But you see, by the age of 28 weeks, they got a heart which is beating. They got all the limbs. They got the head, everything fully formed already. It's only the size. That's small, that's all. And this is, you see, this is legal. This is legal. So for you to say, Chris, one sec. To say that this is something that we are going to decide what is good and what is not good by our own volition, by our own intellect, I think this can be quite subjective, like I said earlier.
It is subjective. So you have a law telling you that above a certain time it's not possible to do it.
The abortion is something that should be accepted or rejected.
It is hard because it's about as much as it is about the baby's to come life, it's about the mother's right to decide whether or not she's ready.
What about the baby's right?
Who defends the baby's right?
Yeah.
The law saying above a certain time it's too late.
No, but the law is already decided she can abort. So the law is already given all rights to the mother, but zero rights to the baby, because the baby, some of them do not even want to call it a baby. Because I was having a similar conversation to someone else, and you know what? She started to use the word, what's the word she said? Organism or something like that. Basically dehumanizing this child who is developing in the womb, where we all were at one time, you know?
And I mean, on this one, I think it's really hard because I believe that so long that it doesn't happen to me, it's hard for me to judge.
No, it's not about you not knowing it.
I know.
There's a difference between not happening to you and not knowing at all.
You know what I mean? I know someone who had to abort.
Yeah.
And I think no matter what decision she took, even if she decided to keep the baby, it would have been a very brave decision.
It's not about brave, it's about the right for the baby to live. The right to live is a human right for everyone.
It is not my life. And it is not my baby's life, so it is not for me to judge.
Yeah, but I'm not asking you to make the judgment for the whole world. I'm just asking you about your opinion as to why would we, as human beings, give this right to another human being to decide whether that baby should be killed or not?
Because
you see, this right of life.
Because people would do it anyway. So
do what anyway?
Before it was accepted, some people would do it illegally. There was more risk to the mother's life as well.
And by the way, we are not talking about the exceptions where, for example, if the woman got raped and that's why she had to abort, or maybe the mother's life is
some women would abandon their kids afterwards. What is best? You don't really know. Society has made a choice. Like some societies have made a choice that it's legal at a certain point, and then it's too late.
Yeah.
I think it's giving
but you know what?
The option.
If they had adhered to what God had told them, like for example, no fornication, no adultery, in a marriage, have a wholesome life, have a marriage, and then have children that you can have. And if you can't, then don't have children. But to punish a child for no fault of theirs, yes, this is a decision that should not be taken by human beings to kill them. And you as a humanist, you're the last person who should be saying this. You see, and that is the reason I ask this question, because you see, it is not up to us human beings to make a decision, a final decision in these matters of life and death. And that's why we need God. We need God to tell us who is a being who knows us better than anyone else. And He decides what is right and what is wrong. And it's not up to the human beings to decide these things.
Scriptures.
Sorry, who?
Who do you think wrote down the scriptures?
Wrote? You mean literally wrote it? Human beings wrote it. But it was revealed by God to them.
But how do you know if human beings, you can't really trust them because they do drink and they do all these things? How can you make sure?
Yeah, we're going to make sure we don't take our knowledge from such people who drink and do wrong.
Sure that it has been done by these kind of righteous people?
Strong French accent.
Yeah, she's French. Yeah. So yeah, what I'm saying is that look, we don't just trust anyone, and we basically know these people, we know their characteristics, we know where they come from. We have thousands of people who have testified about them. It's not just any Tom, Dick and Harry who come say, this is from God, believe it. No. It is obviously something that we have to verify. So we look at what they tell us. In the scripture, what they tell us. For example, if in the scripture they tell us to go and do things which are categorically wrong, like go and basically, I don't know, kill people or take somebody's life for no reason, yes, then we know that is wrong. But if there is a justified reason, yes, for example, in the Quran, Allah talks about wars, about killings. But those is the oppressors who basically want to kill you, or those people who want to harm you, you defend yourself. But then there is another verse, like earlier, I don't know if you were listening, like in chapter 60 verse 8, where Allah says, those who do not fight you and do not drive you away from your homes, yes, be righteous to them, be kind to them, be nice to them. And this is what is, you see, religion, when it teaches you something, it is for your good. Even if it prohibits you from doing something, it is for your good.
I think it has been written for the good of people. This is what I read and I said.
Is she okay, your friend? Where is your friend?
I don't know. I actually didn't know her before.
Oh, you
don't know her? Okay.
What I think is, like, let's say from the Catholic background, because I don't know much about Islam, and I'm not going to talk about something I don't know about.
Fair enough, yeah.
Because I will say something wrong and it's stupid. Okay. So, but from the little I know is Catholic has kind of split into different ways of thinking, and it all comes to, at the beginning, the same book, but people interpret it differently. And so long as you have morality and you respect me and you respect other people's lives, for me, there is no problem. Then I think if in my own way I'm trying to be right to people, maybe not following a book, but following what my parents told me, keeping from the religion that I've been told, keeping what I think and believe is good, then I think it's also fair. The only thing that I'm trying and keep away is, like, that I didn't like in religion is when you are told that you don't ask questions and you just do whatever is
not in Islam.
Yeah, but that's
in Islam you are actually encouraged to ask questions.
The problem of the way it was taught to me made me decide that I didn't need it, because I just kept what I liked from it.
Fair enough. I mean, that's
decided the rest was none of my business.
See what you say about the good. Is your good same as mine? Is your standard for good same as my standard?
I suppose if you want to respect
so for example,
people's lives.
I have a criminal, alcohol. No, go to another example. There are people who get happiness out of hurting other people. You can name a lot of people.
Bullying,
yeah. Those people's standards are different to yours. So what happens in this case? Do we lower your standard, or you push them up to their standard? What do we do?
No one.
For example, I'll give you an example everybody knows. Hitler, for example. Is that a good standard or bad standard?
I think you know the answer to that.
So how do we judge?
So
people have different standards. People have different standards then. So
people have different ideas, and because they follow them by the book without asking themselves why, then they do crazy things because it's written.
But to him it was okay. To him it was right.
To him it was alright because he had an ideology and he wouldn't ask himself a second question. Like he wouldn't think twice. You know what I'm trying to say?
Actually, he seemed to be a very logical, intelligent man who thought a lot about his
He was their
ideology.
best chancellor.
He even wrote books about it, so you cannot say he didn't think twice.
No, but
he thought a lot.
Once you think of something and you never question yourself again whilst you're about to do it.
The whole country followed him.
Yeah,
the whole country.
But anyway,
a lot of people are following other people without asking themselves questions.
With regards to the morals that you said, yes, of course, like I told you earlier, we all have this common morals, which we all kind of, regardless of whether you're religious or irreligious, these morals are common. But the question arises that who decides which morals you should adopt, and who decides, like I said, the standards.
At the time you're about to do an action, you ask yourself. Once you've done it, you ask yourself again.
But it might be too late then.
It might be too late, and you go and seek forgiveness
Forgiveness from whom?
from the person you harmed,
And
one way or another.
what if he's dead?
But if you ask yourself the question before you do it, and you're sensible, you don't kill him.
No, but if you have done it and then what?
You don't.
What? No, it does happen.
Maybe not, but
Okay, take the example.
But that doesn't
I'll tell you what.
mean that religion would prevent them from doing
Yeah,
it.
I'll tell you what. Take the example of Hitler. Yes. How would you punish him if you caught him and you had the ability to? How would you punish him?
How would I punish Hitler?
Yes.
How would you
Would you forgive him?
I don't need to forgive him because he's done nothing to me personally.
So what would you do to him?
What would I do to him?
If you had the ability to punish him, how would you do it?
I think he would go on trial.
And then, of course, we know what will happen in the trial. He gets convicted, and then what?
Convicted.
Okay, and then what?
And then he has to think about all the awful things that he has done, and he has to live with himself.
And that's it?
I think it's worse than death.
And is that it?
I suppose.
How will you impart justice to all those victims of his?
You cannot repair harm by killing someone else.
No, I'm not saying he, I'm saying you. Let's imagine you're the judge, yes, in that trial in which he goes to, and you convict him as the murderer or mass genocide or whatever you call it, yes? Based on the scenario, how would you punish him? That is something that will be just, that will give justice to his victims, and that is something which the world will accept as being honorable and just.
That's a very tricky question.
It's not a tricky question.
What would you
It's a
do
very
then?
simple
Tell
question.
me.
You see, as a person who believes in God, I think I will let the matter to be dealt with by God, because God is able to impart justice better than any human can imagine.
That's fair
So
to
you
all.
would not, you would just do nothing?
No, I wouldn't do nothing. In this world, if I was the judge, obviously I'd give him capital punishment. But you see, that still wouldn't suffice, because just him, as one individual who has killed thousands and hundreds of thousands and maybe even millions, yes, if he is one individual and I as a judge say, okay, that penalty to him, off with his head, that still wouldn't give justice to those millions he has killed.
No, he wouldn't.
Yes, and that's the reason I'm saying we come back to God, because God is able to impart such justice on the day of judgment to this guy that if he knew about it, he will think twice before committing that atrocity.
I think the fact that trials get you to go to prison and be an outcast.
Even then, trust me,
It is a big
if his life is only limited to say 70, 80, even 100 years, yes, that still wouldn't suffice for him, because of the degree of atrocities that he has committed. And that goes for everyone. Look, if there is, like I told you earlier, if there is no consequences for people who do not believe in God, because they say, okay, look, at the worst they'll kill me. Yes, they will say off with my head and that's it. But he still will.
Was he religious?
Sorry?
Do you know if
I
he
think
was
initially he was, but later on he didn't care about religion.
Do you think it's gonna happen the same to me?
About you? So what's going to happen to you?
I used to believe, and I'm not believing anymore.
No, you won't become a Hitler, trust me. I don't think you have. Today things are different in this world. But anyway, what I'm saying is that a day will come when you will breathe your last. And the same goes for me. You see, death is something, regardless of your faith or no faith, it is inevitable, absolutely. So this is one thing which is fact, which no one can deny.
The only thing I also believe that the second truth is you have control over what you're doing, of your actions.
Yeah, until you breathe your last.
So
Yes.
you should.
Unless you're drunk.
So therefore you shouldn't drink this much.
Yes.
But you know.
But the thing is, you see, what do you think would happen to you once you die?
I will decompose.
And that's it? End of story?
Feed the worms.
Feed the worms. Hey, the worms will be enjoying.
Scientist.
Good day for us today.
Tyson said that.
Okay.
The scientist, the astrophysicist. Oh,
Stephen Hawking.
no, Tyson.
Okay, anyway. So,
I think what I'm talking about is the things that I know for sure.
yeah. What if there was a life after death? What if the people who believe in religion are correct and there is actually a life after death and there is going to be a punishment or a reward depending on how you conducted yourself?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to tell you is, for me, it doesn't matter, because my aim in life is to behave myself as much as I can, whether or not there is punishment. And I think it's
No, but you
better.
see, this life which you're living in this world is based on how you live it. But that is not how God wants you to live it.
That you don't know. Maybe I'm complying.
No, if you're complying, then for you to say I don't believe in God, that itself is showing that you have already rejected the way of God.
You can behave in almost the same ways without having to fear the punishment.
Yeah, but the greatest sin is rejecting God.
Well, then I'm doomed.
Well, that's what I'm telling you, not to be doomed. I'm giving you, maybe God brought you here today to give you another opportunity where you... No, but that's what I'm telling you. Look, what have you got to lose if you believed in God? Yes? And suppose, let's say for the sake of argument, after you die, it is as if what you said earlier, you become decomposed and the worms eat you and that's the end of it. You see, you haven't lost much, have you?
No.
But if you do not believe in God, and there really is God after you die, and there really is hell and heaven after you die, then you got a lot to lose, because you're taking a huge risk. Whereas in both cases, you see, in the case where God does exist and there is heaven and hell, I have prepared for that by believing in God. In the other scenario where there is no God, yes, even though I prepared for there being God and there being an afterlife, I still wouldn't lose out. In both cases, who loses out more, you or me? Who's taking the bigger risk?
In your scenario,
Yeah.
I suppose I'm losing. But what I'm trying to say is, I want to make sure that I'm the master of all my decisions, not what people believing, let's say, in the same religion as I do, will tell me.
So
What you don't understand is the background I'm from, and probably that's like personal history.
Yeah.
But in the church I was, and in the family I'm in,
Right.
people are racist.
That's fine. I
People
mean, you
are
see, that is something that...
Catholics, and they believe
Yes.
that if you don't believe like them, you're nothing. I decided to refute this,
Yeah.
because if they say God says this, I would rather think there is none.
But you see, what you have done is you have actually looked... Imagine you're in a cinema and you watched only one movie.
I'm just decided
I'm
to
giving
make
you
my own movie.
Yeah, I'm giving you a scenario. You can't
I'm filming my own
but you
life.
can't be the director and the actor at the same time, can you?
No, why not?
And be the cameraman as well. So you see, this is quite a difficult scenario, because if you go to a cinema and there are 3 movies running and you watch only one of them, yes, and you think that was a really bad movie, do you really think that saying that the other 2 movies are also just as worse without even watching them?
Movies, there's so many. How would you pick?
Exactly, that's a good question actually.
So I make my own.
No, you don't.
The
Because
one
what
that
you
suits me
do...
better.
No, what you do is you narrow down using your logic. For example, look, there are many religions out there which preach that God is many. Yes, there are some religions who think there are thousands of gods or millions of gods, and some say God is 3, and some say 3 in 1 or like that. And there are other religions like Islam and Judaism who say God is 1. So what you do is you narrow it down to the monotheistic faiths in order for you to be more, more practical, because obviously you cannot go and analyze and learn thousands of religions out there. The reason I'm saying this, to stick to the monotheistic faith, is because for you to look into, say for example, even a faith which believes in 2 gods, yes? Imagine if both are gods and one God says, I want...
I've narrowed down even more than you, because I figured out that the aim of all religion is to do good by whoever you live with. No matter how you call God, or no matter how you decide to worship Him, you are told to be good in the society you're with, and even being good with people with other faith.
But
This is exactly what I'm doing.
No, but you remember what I told you earlier.
Need
It is not about
someone telling me to
Yeah.
do it
It's-
or following a book. I follow my own.
No, it's not about just doing good. You see, morality is important, obviously. And I told you already earlier, you don't need to be religious to adopt many of the morals to be good. To be good. This is something an atheist can do as well. But the most important thing is for you, the wrong which you are not taking into account and not acknowledging is by rejecting God. That is the greatest thing you can do wrong. And that is the reason.
Do you respect me anyway?
Why would I not respect you?
So, where is the problem? We have no problem.
No, the problem is about the afterlife. Remember?
Because you care for me and it's very sweet.
No,
But
it is the afterlife I care.
Away.
Your life in this world is limited. Yes, one day, like I said, eventually we all will die.
Exactly.
What I care about you in this context is about your life, which is going to be eternal.
That
So
is
I would
true.
rather you, no, but like I said, if you imagine this, the scenario I gave you earlier, you're taking a much bigger risk by denying God and by denying the afterlife. Because if that was the case, then what happens? Are you going to say on the day of judgment when you're in front of God that, oh God, I decided not to because I had some family problems at home? It's not going to work on that day.
You see? I see it that if I have decided on my own to do right, and I believe I'm not harming anyone in any way, that if there is a God, and he can see that I've actually tried my best to be right by everyone around
Yeah.
me without even thinking that I will benefit from it at any point,
Yeah.
this is even better because I just did it for the sake of doing good.
No, that is
Not
your.
for the sake
Yeah,
of
but that is.
saving my eternal
It's
life.
very good. Your selflessness is going to. God is going to obviously reward that for what good you have done. He's not going to say, regardless if you're bad, not going to reward you. You're going to get a reward in the world, no problem. But the important thing is this: if God tells you the biggest sin that you can commit is not acknowledge Him and reject Him. You see, you're not going to be entered into hell or in heaven based on your terms. That is a decision for God to make. And God has already told you that if you do not acknowledge Him as being the only God, then you are destined for hellfire.
But what about all the other religions then?
Same thing, the same rule applies. If you do not abide by the law of God, then you will be accountable for that.
This is where I have a problem because I believe that some people that believe in other religions where maybe there is not just the one God, they might still be very, very nice people.
No, I'm not saying they're not
So
nice. Look, remember I
why
told
would
you
they
earlier?
not- Why would a good God decide that they're not allowed
There
something
can be
good?
nice people on the wrong path, can they not?
If you're so good, then why do they deny God? If they're really good, why?
So
Okay.
you think I'm not good?
No. I said you are good, but why do you deny God? That's a problem.
Because I
If you're so
don't
good,
need to.
tell me one reason for you to deny God.
I told you I don't need to.
Why?
Because
Because
I
on the
believe-
day of judgment, that is one thing you say, that is one thing you will need actually.
Because I don't believe in this day myself.
No, I said if there is God and there is a life after death, you're taking a huge gamble by rejecting it.
I don't know the camera,
What
but I was
if-
going to say to you,
Yeah.
does it make sense to you that there is no God, there's no creator of the universe?
Science makes sense.
But science, you know what is it?
Sorry?
You know what is science?
And then
Can you repeat?
Do you know what is science?
very simple way.
What is it?
And then
What is science?
Facts?
For science is not
Evidence?
fact. No, science is not fact. Science is
It's a tool, but using
Science-
facts and evidence.
I
So it's
told
not
her
the
already. Yeah.
truth yet.
okay.
It's not absolute.
because these kind of people,
But I don't.
in a simple
I trust something that doubts all the time, rather than someone that has written something that believes it's true forever.
I'm going to tell you, first of all, science, another term is knowledge. Yes? Scientists, how many times scientists they say something is scientifically proven, then they get it wrong? You know how many times?